Hi guys, welcome back to another video in Next.js 15. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about how to build a simple but a fully featured chat application in Next.js 15 using an awesome package called socket.io. So I'm not going to be using any backend technology like Node Express. I'm only going to be stuck in Next.js and I'm going to be building backend server and also link that server with my front-end Next.js application to build an awesome chat app. So currently I have opened up the three tabs so that I can show you the demo of the application. Currently, if no rooms exist, we have to create our room. So joining a room, we have to write our username and then we can enter any name, the new name, which does not exist, or any existing room name. So I'm going to be giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the name of room. I'm going to be joining it. Okay, so I'm inside this particular room and this is a particular chat application. Now I can write message hi. So all other users who are in this particular room will get the notification. So currently I've opened up three tabs. So let me show you how does it work. Now I'm going to open up the same application and I'm going to be writing John and I'm going to be entering within the same room which exists on the left side. Okay, so I'm going to be entered. Now all other users who were already joining this room have been getting this notification that this particular user have joined this room. Awesome. Now I'm going to write hi John and send. Now you can see that I'm sending the message to all the users which are in this particular room, and this is the message I have got. And here I can write hi Umair, and this is now I'm sending the message. So both the users are communicating with each other, and this is how it is going to work. Now if I try to open up a third tab and I'm going to write like Elliot, and I'm going to enter some another room. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now you can see that these users are not getting notification because this user is not existing in this particular room. Now let me enter in the same room. So I'm going to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the ID of this room. Now join. Now you can see that on the left side both of these users have got notification that Elliot have joined this particular room. Now hi guys, you can see that now all these three users are communicating within this room. So in this particular application, everybody can create a room and ask other users to join that room so that they can communicate with each other. Okay, so now hello Elliot. uh, so this particular both of these users have got this message because we are in this particular room. All right, how cool is that? Now I'm going to show you how to configure your application for both development and production environment. And for that, I have actually configured my package.json file with different commands, scripts, because socket.io require a server that needs to be running. So in order to run the Next.js application, I wanted to set up a one command that runs the server as well as the client side Next.js application, so that the chat server are also running and my Next.js front-end app should also be running with a single command. And this is for development. I have set up the configuration for the building the socket project as well as starting the project, and this configuration is for the production environment. And for that I have created the different files, server.mts, this is to run separate socket.io server, and then tsconfig server JSON file, socket client server.mjs files. So all these configuration files are added. So I'm going to be creating a new Next.js 15 project and I'm going to be explaining each and every line of code which I'm going to write. So both the beginners who don't have any idea about the socket, they should understand, as well as those people who have some idea writing sockets in Node Express on the backend server. Both the guys should understand how to configure Next.js 15 for chat application using sockets, socket client, and how to link it with the client side Next.js application with the UI components. Okay, so in VS Code I've opened up a new folder which is empty right now. In the terminal I'm going to be creating a new project. So npx create next app at latest dot means I don't want to create any other folder, a new folder within this folder. Okay, just use the name of the folder which is already opened. All right, so right now I'm gonna go with the TypeScript, ESLint, yes, Tailwind CSS, yes, and source directory, no, app router, obviously, yes, turbo pack for this particular application, I don't need that. and no for import alias. So it's going to download all the dependencies required to run over Next.js application. Okay, so meanwhile it is getting downloaded, let me quickly show you the history of my channel. So if you go to my channel, there are a lot of playlists. Okay, starting off with the JavaScript tutorials for and then the Next.js 13 building a full-fledged REST APIs using Node Express MongoDB. But the main point is, if you go to the Next.js tutorial and Next.js 14 tutorials, I have pretty much covered every topic of Next.js using multiple cloud services, backend services to guide you guys how to build an awesome, good performance Next.js application using AI, using authentications, using backend server, using SEO, e-commerce app, blog application, chat application. I've already created different application like Next.js 15 live chat app with user feedback system with intercom, but that is using an intercom, a third-party service. In this particular video, I'm going to using the socket.io to build a custom chat application. And then in the last 10 days ago, I created this video having a chat bot using a Gemini and OpenAI. You can check that out. So check out my channel and learn everything about Next.js. Become perfect, become a professional in Next.js if you want to build any kind of application on this technology. You can see that here it contains 46 videos, starting off with building UI, authentication, blog application, SEO, configuring CI/CD, Docker, building weather app, and all these different applications. So you can see I'm putting a lot of effort building these videos for you guys. So do subscribe my channel. It will really encourage me to make more videos for you guys. And also, if you need any development services, you want to have live sessions from me, then you can contact me on LinkedIn. I've given the link of my LinkedIn profile in the description of this particular video. So the project is created, it is success, and let me clear the terminal out. Let me run the project to see if everything working fine. So it's running currently on localhost colon 3000. So let's refresh the page. So it should show the default UI provided by Next.js 15. Awesome. First of all, I'm going to go into the app directory, open up the global.css file, and I'm going to remove everything that we have here except the Tailwind CSS, because I need Tailwind CSS to design the UI. Okay, so now you can see that all the color schemes is gone. Inside the page, I'm going to remove. So in Next.js, if you are new to Next.js, this page.tsx file already referring to the home route. Okay, so whatever the content you are seeing over here, it's because of this particular page and the content inside it. So I'm going to remove everything and I'm going to write another div and I'm going to write home. Okay, let's go over here. You can see there is a home visible in the top left corner of the page. Okay, now let's go to the layout.tsx file. This file is used to layout our page, sidebar, navbar, footer, and also bring in all the content coming in from the child component. It behaves like a high order component, if in simple word, if you know, in React. Okay, so currently the children is the content of all the routes which are coming in. Currently we only have one route. So the home text which is over here is going to be received in this children, and here if we want to add a navbar which is going to be visible in all the pages, we can do over here. But first of all, I want to align all the content of my pages to the center of the page. Okay, so these children should be in the center, or whatever the content I will be adding here. So I will be wrapping this particular children within another div, and let's do that. And I'm going to be adding the Tailwind CSS class name. So mx auto max width 7 xl, and let's do padding x4. Okay, so let's save it. And now you can see that I'm here in the home. So currently I've designed this page. If we want to add a navbar, it should have it should be centered aligned. So no matter if I just zoom in, zoom out, it is going to be visible in the page. Okay, so on the smaller screens, obviously it will be a mobile screen, so it will have a less margin on the left and right. Okay, so let's move to the 100%. Just ignore it, because in the page.tsx file I'll be centering all the chat UI. So that's it for this particular file. And in this particular page.tsx file, let's design this page first of all. Okay, so now this particular div, I'm going to be adding a class. So I'm going to be adding the flex margin top 24 justify center and width full. All right, so let's see. Now you can see that it is centered aligned, and it's looking good. Now I'm going to be removing this home. Instead I will be adding that UI which I showed you at the start of the video. So I'm going to be adding another div, and this will be having an h1, and this should show the room. Currently let's give it 1. I will be making it dynamic. Let's give the class name to this div, width full, max width 3xl, and mx auto. All right, so let's save it. Let's go. Now you can see that room 1 is visible, which is aligned on the left side, and this is where our chat application is going to be shown, the UI. Now for this room, let's increase the size of it a bit. So margin bottom 4, text 2xl, font bold. All right, so it's bold now. Now below this h1, I'm going to be adding another div, and this is going to take all the chat messages. Okay, so let's do that. Let's write to do add chat room. So let's save it. And below this, I'm going to be creating a new component, which is going to be the form, the text box, and the button to send the messages. Okay, so for that, I'm going to be creating a new folder, components, and inside these components, I'm going to be creating a new component. So let's name it chat form .tsx. Okay, RAFCE, I'm using an extension of VS Code that if you write RAFCE and hit enter, it is going to generate this particular start of the component code. So let me quickly show you if you don't know, if you are new to it. So it should be this one, ES7 React Redux GraphQL. So you can just install this extension. All right, so now let's add chat form here. Let's bring that in here. So chat form. All right, so now you can see that this is the to do, this is the chat form. And rather than adding this text, I will be adding another component that is going to render all the messages from here. Okay, so let's quickly do that. Let's first of all add the UI for this chat form. So here I'm going to be removing this div. Instead, I'm going to be starting off with the form. It is going to be a child component of that parent component, the page.tsx. So I'm using a super Maven extension, which is an awesome, and this is why I'm getting these suggestions that this is something you want to write. Okay, I can hit tab and I can modify it if it is not according to my requirements. So now let's add the on submit event, and I yet need to add handle submit over here, and also let's add the class name. So flex gap 2 margin top 4. Okay, so currently let's quickly add the handle submit event. Okay, this is how it should work. So react dot form event, we don't need to add a HTML form element, that is fine. So for now it is just logging that out. So now inside this input, it should be of type text, that is fine. Placeholder, type your message here, which is fine. Class name flex1, padding x4, border 2, padding y2, rounded large, focus outline should be none. Okay, so this is how it's looking like. And lastly, I need to add the on change, and let's print this thing, but I can add a state. So let's bring up the state. I'm assuming you already know React. Okay, if you don't know React, you need to first learn React. Okay, so now this is the set message, and rather than console log, I can add set message and e.target.value. All right, and here console log, I can add prevent default if message dot trim not equals to empty string, then I'm going to add on let's see set message. Okay, and inside this if condition I will be calling a function which is going to be coming from the parent component, which is the page.tsx. But for now that is fine. Let's save it. Let's go over here. So you can see that it is showing some kind of error. The reason is that I actually need to convert my component into a client-side component, because whenever the user interaction require, it cannot be rendered on the server side. By default, all the components in Next.js are rendered from the server side. So let's save it. Now there is no error. You can see that it is looking great. And we need to add the button as well after this. So after input, let's add the button. So button, type, submit, class name like this, send, and then button. I'm just using whatever the super Maven is providing, so that is fine. I think, yeah, send here. Rather than black text, I'm going to add text white. All right, so this is looking great. We have set that up and we have this chat box. I will come back here. Before moving back to the page.tsx, let me show you on send message, and this is going to be of type void. The message is going to be visible, so this is just like an interface. Currently this is declared, but its value is not being used, so I can write on send message and then the message. All right, I don't think we need to do anything further inside this particular component. So let's go back. This is the page and we have this chat form, and it is showing the error because we are not passing anything like that message which we have added. So let me show you this thing. On send message should be passed to this. Okay, so let's go to the page.tsx and on send message, message console log. So the error should be gone. Actually, it should be a function. So function needs to be created. So let's add const handle send message, message console log, and this should be passed over here. All right, so now the error should go. All right, so currently I think the error it is showing is because we have this function and we need to make it client side. Okay, use client. Let's save it. Now the error is gone. Since we are loading the form inside this component, so this is the reason we have to convert this particular component into the client side. Okay, so any component which require only data rendering, fetching the data from the backend server using APIs and just show it, we don't need to convert that component into the client side. Okay, so this is how we have written. Now I'm going to build up the UI for the messages. So let's quickly do that. So I want to finish the UI before I can move towards the socket.io and all of its configuration, logic, and the technical stuff. Okay, so now let's create another component inside the components folder, and I'm going to write chat message.tsx RAFCE. So it's going to generate that. And here I need to actually pass few things. So this is going to be a style for you can call it a single message. Okay, so let's do that. So first of all, I'm going to add a class name, and this is going to be like this, because I need to modify the message based upon if it is a message from sender, if it is a message from, if it is our message, or if it is a notification when someone joins. Okay, flex, and I'm going to add this thing, and is system message. Let's select what the super Maven is suggesting. Okay, let's do that. All right, so first of all, is system message does not exist. That is fine for now. And If it is system message, then I'm going to be centered align. System message means the notification then when someone's joined. Okay. And after that, um I can add another stuff rather than just justify start. If it is not system message, now I need to define if it is my own message or not, if it is from sender or from my own message or not. Okay, so let's save it. Now justify end and the justify start. All right. uh, Item center, we don't need to do that. So margin bottom 3, so there should be a gap between the messages. And below this div we have another div, and let's change it a bit. So um, let's write the same notation which I've added above, and max width extra small, padding x4, padding y2, uh, like this, rounded, this is going to be the large. Let me remove this div. And this particular div is going to take a few things. So first of all, we need to show the name of the sender. Okay, but let's write the message first of all. Let's do that. And above this message we have to show the name, so it is going to be concatenated. Okay, so is system message, like it. And if it is not a system message, then I need to actually show the name. Okay, so padding, class name, text small, font bold, and then I need to render the sender, which are all the props which I need to pass over here in this particular component. Okay, but before that, let me add the colors of that message box. So let's write it like it. Okay, so this notation is system message. Let's do that. Is on message blue gray. So super maven is awesome. So now I need to modify it. So if it is a system message, I'm going to change bg gray to 800. Text is going to be the white, and text is going to be the center, and then the text XS. If it is on message, then bg blue 500 and the text white. And for if it is not a system message and not my own message, then I'm going to write bg white, and text is going to be the black. All right, so I don't think we need to do anything else except let me add one interface above it. So interface, chat message props, sender message is on message. Let's select it. So sender message is on message. Okay, now we don't need a system message. I will be doing it using another condition. Okay, so now let's select this out. So super maven is automatically suggesting, and now let's hit tab. So all the errors are gone. I will be passing these data from the parent component page.tsx file, and is system message. If the sender is equals to system, then is system message is going to be true. This is simple variable. Okay, now let's close it. Let's close it. We have this page.tsx. So first of all, let's do messages, set messages, use state, and the system. So use state, let's bring that in from the client, and this is going to be of type. Sender is going to be string and message is going to be the string. So this is how it is going to work, and I need to remove the parentheses actually. All right, so I've added that. I will be needing a few more states. So a room, set room, state is equals to, this is going to be a string. So let's give an empty string. Now const joined, set joined, use state equals to false. Initially, no user is going to be joining. Another state variable that I will be needing is the username. and set username state is going to be the empty. Okay. Um, so now I can use these messages to actually iterate through it. So let iterate inside this particular div. I can come over here and I can write the messages dot map and message index arrow function, and let's bring that chat messages, the component which I have created. So key is going to be, let's give it an index, uh, and then I need to pass the sender. So the sender is going to be the message dot sender, and the message dot message. It's an error. So is on message if the sender is going to be the username. So this is how it is being passed. So let me see what is the error. Maybe I need to add the parentheses over here. So this is the error. Okay, so let's add these parentheses. All right, and now there is no message because the messages array is empty, but I need to add some classes to it, background gray, so that we have some. So height is going to be the pixels, overflow y auto. Okay, it will show the scroll, so the maximum height is going to be the 500 pixels, and then the padding is going to be the 4, margin bottom 4, bg gray is going to take the value 200, border border 2. Okay, so let's give the border 2, rounded is going to be the large. Okay, so let's see. You can see that it is showing over here, it is showing nothing, and the messages are not being visible over here. All right, I will be adding another state. This is going to be above here. So if the user is joined or not, then based upon that I'm going to load the UI. Okay, so let's do that. Above this particular div, I can actually check if not joined, then question mark, then parentheses, and this is going to be like, let's do that. All right, so now this parentheses is going to take this div which I have already written. So let's cut it from here, let's paste it over here. All right, so currently you can see that it is showing the UI because the user is not joined by default. By default it is going to be false. So every user who is going to be opening this URL, he will see this text. Obviously I need to add the form here for the username and the room ID. Okay, so I'm not going to be wasting too much time to explain you how to design it a bit. So I'm just going to be copy pasting the snippet which I have inside this particular joint. Okay, so let's do that. Let's remove it and let's paste it over here. Okay, so let's save it. Handle join room does not exist, so I can actually quickly come over here and let's create the function. So handle join room, set joined equals to true. I need to add an if condition, but for now that is fine. Now you can see that it is looking good, and after I'll be filling this form and I will be clicking on this join room, I will be actually updating this particular state, and when this state is going to be updated, this UI is going to be visible. Awesome. Now it's time to configure socket. So in the terminal I need to install few packages. It was an old error. Okay, so just ignore it. So clear. And if I open a package.json file, it includes these dependencies for React, Next.js, dev dependencies. So I'm going to be installing npm I, and first one is the socket.io, and the second one is the socket.io hyphen client and force. So in Next.js 15 we have to write it for now. Later on maybe it gets resolved. So this is going to get installed. So you can see that these are added. Socket.io, when we use the separate technologies like MERN stack, we use socket.io on the backend server in Node Express server, and then we use the socket.io client on the front end application, whether built in Angular, React, to actually connect the server and the client for the messages or for the notifications. Okay. And for the dev, I don't think we need to do anything. And here we have this dev command which we just used to run our application locally for the development server, but this is not going to run our socket. We have to modify this particular command so that our front and next app also works, and also the server of the socket.io also works. So rather than modifying it, let's keep it like it. And I'm going to add another dev socket. Okay. So now this is going to be a long value. Let me add that so I can explain you after it. So these are the simple configuration. You can just pause the video and you can just put it here. So we have the node options. This will avoid you with a lot of errors. Now TS node is something that we can have to run over Node.js server. TS node is used to run node when it is written using the TypeScript. If we were using the JavaScript, we didn't need that. Okay. Server.mts file is something we need to create that. Inside it, I need to actually create server.mts file. Okay. And this is where I will be actually creating a server for the socket. So while I'm writing it, I will be explaining you step by step. So first of all, I'm going to create server using HTTP. It is going to be the node HTTP. Okay, now let's bring in next from next. So I'm going to be using it to run our next app as well. Okay, so let's save it. Now let's bring in the server from the socket.io. Okay, so now so let me quickly explain you how these things work. So the thing is that you might know that in HTTP server, like the when we request something, we get the response. But in HTTP server, when we don't request something, we don't get a response. So the request should be must. Okay, when we call an API, we get the response from the server. If we don't call that API, we will not get the response. But this is not in the case of the socket. Socket, if I give you an example, in multiple application we get the notification at the top of different websites. Okay, the notifications, we don't request to get the notification, but we still get the notification because of some new message they want we to receive, or we have sent the message and the server is going to send the response. So the request, we can get the response on the request, as well as we can get the response without requesting the response. Okay, so it is a two-way communication without request. Okay, so now inside this, first of all, let me detect whether we are in production or the dev. So the process.env.know, if it is not production, then we are in the dev environment. Now let's bring in the host name. Host name equals to the process.hostname localhost. Now let's create a .env file, and inside it I'm going to add host name equals to localhost, and port is going to be 3000. All right, so we don't need it in the form of string. Let's remove it. Now we have the host, so let's use the port as well. So port is going to be the parse int process.env.port 3000 and then the 10. Okay, parse int, we are just converting that. If this is the case, port does not exist in env, then I'm just using localhost colon 3000. So these are just the validations. Okay, now let's create an app using this next function. Okay, this is going to help us run the Next.js application along with the socket.io. So app equals to next dev. So along with dev, I need to pass the host name and then the port as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I can actually let's add the handle for the get request handler. Okay, and this is going to help us create a server. Okay, so we are going to pass this handle to this particular function create server. Now app dot prepare dot then. I'm not going to select everything that it is suggesting because I want to explain you guys step by step. So here we have done this. Now let's add the HTTP server, create server, and I'm going to pass this handler which I have already created above. Okay, so we have this HTTP server, and let's add the IO, new server, HTTP server, and we don't need to pass anything inside it right now. Okay, so the IO is whole room. Okay, just consider IO is a whole circuit or a whole room in which we can have multiple sockets. So there can be multiple chats happening in our application, multiple rooms and multiple users coming in. So whenever new user comes in, we are combining it and we are calling it as a whole server or a room or a whole circuit that contains multiple sockets. Okay, means multiple connections can be made based upon the room numbers and multiple users. Okay, so now I can actually add the IO dot. So these are the built-in function provided by socket. Okay, so you have to go through its documentation. Now, first of all, whenever user is going to be opening up this particular application, we want to detect whether the connection is made or not. So on is one trigger. On gets triggered whenever it gets detected. Okay, so whenever the connection gets added. So for now, let's remove it. So I'm just logging that out that a user connected, but let's add a meaningful message over here, user connected, and we can have it like socket.id like this and like it. Okay, now I will come back to this, but outside it I need to actually listen the server on the port. So the server is running on here I can write rather than port, I can write HTTP slash and then the dollar sign, this host name and colon port. All right, so this is enough for running the server. Okay, so rather than actually running our application using the dev command, I'm going to be using the dev socket. All right, so let's see if I run it, what happens. So npm run dev socket. So hit enter. Now so it is showing this error that can't find package ts node. Okay, so I'm not going to be installing that ts node directly over here as a dependencies or the dev dependencies. Instead, I need to configure few things. So let's go to the ESLint first of all, and here I'm going to set the rules. So rules, and this is going to be an object. Now I'm going to write at typescript ESLint, and this is going to be the no require imports, and this is going to be equals to the off. Okay, so that's it for this file. Now let's open up this tsconfig. So inside the tsconfig file, you can see that it has this module resolution equals to bundler. I'm going to change it to node. Okay, and then I'm going to add we have this include over here. Okay, so we have this next env, then we have this tsx, and lastly I will be adding server.mts file as well, which I have just created. Okay, so this is added, and let's close that. And let's open up this tailwind config. I don't need to do that. And I'm going to create a new file. So this is going to be for configuring this error. So for the server side as well, for production as well. So I'm going to write the ts config.server.json. Okay. And inside this particular file, I'm going to just adding the code. You can pause the video. So this is how I'm actually configuring the node require module. So because node application, we use the socket IO within the node application. So this configuration actually necessary. You can see that it will be using the same server.mts file which we have just created. Okay, so let's save it and let's close it. Now let's try to running our server and see what happens. Well, not yet. Let's install this TS node package. So I'm going to write npm I TS node force. So this is going to get installed. After that, I'm going to try that out, but the configuration I've done were necessary, so it's good that we have already done. So now TS node package is added. Now let's try to run that dev socket. I hope that, yeah, it's fine. So let's hit enter. And now I hope that it is not showing that particular error which was showing above. Okay, so you can see that the priority access server is running on localhost, which we have written over here. This is awesome. And this is where the message is printing from here. Now let's try to refresh the page. And it should print the same UI. All right, so our socket is running, our server is running, and along with that our Next.js app is also running. You can see that this UI is coming in from the Next.js routers, the page.tsx file, and we have actually configured that particular command to actually run both the Next app as well as the socket IO server. Okay, so this is cool. Now I'm going to come back over here, server.mts, and this is a predefined strings. You can go to the documentation of the socket IO and you can just check these out. So now in the server.mts, we have to configure few more things. So in the socket IO, there are few terminologies like the emitting a message. When someone requests a message, we have to emit the message from the socket. We can broadcast the message. Broadcast means that we want to send the message to all the users, maybe within the room, within a circuit. But users can send the message to each other as well. Okay, so now first of all, let's add the disconnect. So someone leaves the server, leaves the browser, so we are just logging that out right now. We are not going to show in on the UI. So I'm just logging this out. We can modify it. Rather than logging it out, we can store it in some kind of DB for record purpose, for analytics purpose. Okay, so io.on, if it is disconnected, then we are just logging that out. Before that, we want to detect when someone joins a room. Okay, so this is something we can do over here. So actually not using this thing over here, let's remove it. Instead, I need to add it inside it, and rather than IO, I need to use the socket. All right, so make sure you update that. And socket dot id, it is showing some kind of error. Let's see. So property id does not exist on the disconnect reason. I'll come back to this why it is showing this particular. So okay, we don't need to receive it. This was the error. It should be coming in from this IO connection. All right, now let's detect that whether someone joins a room or not. So I'm going to write the socket.on, and join room is also a string, predefined string provided by the socket. So socket.io package, now we have this room. So rather than this room, and we can actually trigger this particular hook with the help of from the client side as well. So when I will detect when someone opening a page.tsx file within the use effect, maybe I can trigger this particular hook or an event. And whenever this is going to receive that someone's open up that page, then I can receive the room number or whatever the message I want to send from that client side. Okay, so this is going to take it like it. And inside it, I can actually use the socket.join room. These are the predefined functions. Okay, and then I can actually right, let's add the console log so we know in the terminal that this particular user have joined this room. And once the socket configure that it has joined a room, then I want to return the response back to the client side that this particular user have joined the room, so that the other users should know that on the UI they should see the message that this particular user with this name have joined this room. And to do that, we can send it to a room number and with an emitting message. So what do I mean by that? Socket dot to, and inside it we can give it a room number, and after that we can send the message. So who should receive the message? What kind of message? We can actually add the user joined, and this is something custom, and we have to use the same kind of strings on the client side, and it will help us to detect that this particular message with this label we have received from the server of the socket. Okay, so now I can actually, after that I can write user joined. So let's add it within this and hit tab. So user joined, and this is the message which I'm going to return back to the UI. So we don't need to give the room back to the UI because the UI is all going to be showing the room number. Okay, joined room. All right. So now this is something we have done. Now we have already installed the client side socket.io package. Okay. So I'm going to be creating a new folder, lib, and inside this lib folder, I'm going to be creating socket client.ts file. Okay. And inside it, I'm going to be using the use client, import IO socket client, and export const socket and then the IO. So this is something like it, IO socket IO, and then inside the page.tsx file I can actually import this socket to actually trigger the functions and these hooks which I have written over here. Okay, so let's open up the page.tsx file and let's import that. We don't need image. Import socket from that lib which we have created. So socket from lib socket client. Okay, so now we have to create a use effect below this. So use effect, which is going to be coming in from the React arrow function, and inside this use effect I can actually add user joined. So Supermavan is suggesting me something, so let's hit enter. So this is the data and hit enter. So the data is over here. Let's add this message. Let's update the name like the message, and the center is going to be the system previous. We don't need to log that out. Okay, so whenever user try to trigger this particular home route, this use effect is going to be working. So I need to add it an empty array over here. Okay, and also when someone leaves this particular page, let's add return and socket.off user joined, and we will also be needing the socket.off message which I have yet to create, because both of these things I will be adding over here. I've already added join room, and I will be adding the message when someone sends a message as well. So inside the page.tsx file we have written this return. This is in case unmounting of this component. Okay, so let me rerun the server in the terminal. Let's rerun it. So let's see. All right, so in the server, in the terminal, we should see so this particular message that the user is joined. Okay, so user connected. All right, so when I rerun it, if I refresh it, so the user connected got printed in the terminal. You can see over here. So this is the user connected, and this is showing over here. Now when I will be writing my username, So Umair and 1 2 3 4 5. Let's click on that. I hope that it's going to work. Join room. User connected, so it is not printing that out. Actually, what I need to do is inside the page.tsx file, when I clicked on that join room, this is going to be triggered actually. Okay, so here I can first actually detect if someone have entered the room number and the username or not. Otherwise, I don't want it to navigate to the new UI. Okay, and inside it now I can actually select and emit that join room, and then I can actually write set join over here, right? And emitting join room is the same thing. Join room I have added over here, and now this should be printed in the terminal. All right, so I hope that it is going to work, and let's rerun the server. So npm run dev socket. So I'm going to refresh it. I think it's still processing, compiling. The server is running on localhost 3000. Let's refresh it. Localhost colon 3000. All right. So now we can see user connected, and because the connection is being made in the server.mts, and we have this socket dot. This is where it is getting printed. Now let's write a username Umair 12345 join room. So we have navigated to that, and user joined room, user Umair joined room 12345. All right, this is cool. This is the reason I added over here. So the triggering message we add over here, we can trigger with this particular label from anywhere of application that we want. So emitting, we are emitting the message from here, we are passing this message, and this is going to be received over here, and then this is going to print and emitting back to our UI. So now on the UI, we need to actually detect this user joined or not. Okay, so how we are going to do it is in the page.tsx. So joined is made. Now we can actually write the socket dot on user joined, and then the message, and then we can actually select all these messages. Okay, actually we should not write it for the user joined. We should have written it for the message, which I have yet to create, and then the data, and then this is going to take as a whole data over here. All right, I will create its hook in our server. So user joined, when the user is going to be joined, this is going to be received this message, so that this messages are going to be visible in the form of array. Okay, so before moving further, let me write this messages hook as well in the server. So let's do that. Here I can write the socket dot on message. Let's see. So we have this message room, and so how we are passing it from here, let me see. Okay, so this is being passed over here in the form of data from the page. Okay, but inside the server we have to rearrange that. First of all, let's do with the room, and then the message, and then the sender. Okay, and let's add the message as well for logging purpose. Console log message from sender in room, and then the room ID. This is just to print that out, and then the socket dot room emit message, and from this is where we are emitting it, and it is going to be received over here that we have added over here. So in the data, we have to send this message. Who is the sender? We don't need to add the system. We just need to return the sender. And then we need to return this particular message. All right. So let's do that. Let's come over here. Let me see, handle send message. We have to emit that out from here, just to when someone sends a message and hit enter or click on that send button, this is going to be triggered, and from here we have to trigger this thing as well from here. So let's do that. We have this message coming in, and let's process that out. So data equals to room, no, not in the object form. So room message sender equals to the username, and set messages is going to be the previous, and then the data. Rather than data, we only have to add the sender, username, and then the message. Okay, so after that, once the array is set, let's send the data to the messages. Let's remove the console log. So this is a two-way communication happening actually. When someone joins the room, this gets triggered, and this is going to emit join room. Join room is going to work, and this is going to let the user to join the room, log the this string, and this is going to emit this particular message to this particular room number that user is joined, and it is going to be come over here, and then it is going to trigger this socket.on from the server. So that this is going to be triggered, and this is going to set the message with the sender type system. So this is for the notification that a new user is joined, to let already existing users in this. So once a user joins the room, and user can send the message, so user will send the message by clicking on it. This is going to set the message inside the array, and this is going to emit it to the message along with this data, and this is going to be received over here in the message along with this printing, and this is going to emit back to this particular room number with this message, and this is emit message means that this is going to be received over here, all right, inside the messages, and this is going to be setting the messages along with it. So the same array is being used to actually set the messages over here and over here as well. Okay, I hope that it is going to work. Let me rerun the server just for safe side, and it is still compiling. So the configuration I've done over here is only for the dev mod, the development server. I will be adding few more things for making it visible and making it working for the production environment as well. So but first let's test that out for the development mod. So I'm going to add Umair, and then I'm going to add 1 2 3 4. This is the room number, join room. Hi guys. All right, so it is visible now. Let's add another tab. So let's do that, localhost 3000. All right, so room number is 1 2, room number is 1 actually. Okay, okay, all right, so John 1, join room. I think I've done some mistake, so let's see. John 1 2 3 4. All right, so John joined the room. The reason it is showing 1 because I didn't updated that, so room should be room. All right, now you can see that it is showing 1 2 3 4, and it is showing 1 2 3 4. Hi Umair. All right, and now it is receiving a message from John. Hi John. All right, so now you can see that it is sending the message to John, and it should receive it over here. So our messaging is working. So the complete chat in the development environment is working. User can join the room, user can chat with each other, user can have multiple rooms. So all the functionality is working, but this is for the development environment. We have configured the development environment over here with these servers, and this is the file I created. This is for the production environment in Next.js. As you guys already know, if you don't know even, what happens is when we deploy our application, whether on Vercel, whether on any other hosting platform, it first run this command to build the project, and then it run this start command to run that build form of that project. So let me show you. If I build this and then try to start it, it is going to start the app, but only the front end application. It is not going to run the socket server along with that. So let's test that out. So I'm going to write npm run build. Okay, I hope that is not going to throw any error. And then I'm going to start this project on the production using the start command. So it is currently creating, compiling, linting, generating the static pages. And now I'm going to run the start command. So now you can see that it is starting on localhost 3000. So let's refresh. You can see that its UI is running. Now I'm going to write Omer123 join room. This is where it happens. Let's try to open up another URL, John123 join room. You can see that both of these are having the same UI, and if I try to send the message, the other user is not going to receive any kind of messages because our server is not running, the socket.io server. So I'm going to modify this build command as well as the start command to actually run the socket.io server on the production as well. So I'm going to keep these commands as it is. Instead, I'm going to regenerate these commands with the socket keyword after that. Okay. So now I'm going to write npm next build just like the above command, and then tsc hyphen project tsconfig server json, and this file is already created. I created this file to run our project on the production environment as well. So I created that before, which is good. Now build process is going to be happening with this tsconfig server.json, and it is already using the tsconfig json which I have added over here, and already including the server.mts file as well. Okay. Now once the build process is complete, I need to configure the start socket as well. You can write anything over here, and you can modify these commands as well if you don't need that anymore. Okay. I'm just rewriting the new commands over here. So node underscore env equals to production, and then the node server.js. Okay, not the js. I'm going to write mjs because this is going to generate the mjs file inside our dist folder. This is going to generate a dist folder, and this folder is going to be available for the production instance. Okay. So now let's rebuild that. So npm run build socket. So it is now building, and it should actually generate the dist folder in our project, and that dist folder should be containing this server.mjs file, because on the production, on the server, TypeScript doesn't work, only JavaScript work on the browser. So you can see that the dist folder is generated with the server.mjs file. Now when I will run this start socket command, this is actually checking if it is on the production. Then it is running this command node dist server mjs. Locally I was using ts node because locally we can use TypeScript, but on production we have to use node. Okay. Now socket, we have to use start and then the socket. Now it's running on localhost 3000. All right, so let's remove it, let's refresh it, and let me rerun it so that we don't see different things. So user connected with this id, this is automatically getting generated using socket.io. So let's refresh, and now you can see that I can write omer one abcd 1 2 3 4 join room. So room is joined. We can see this thing. If we are looking at this, it means that with these commands our production environment is properly working along with the socket server. Okay. Now let's go over here, localhost 3000 john abcd 1 2 3 4 join room. All right, so it got the notification, hi John. All right, so it has sent this message, it has received this message. So our socket is working, hi Omer. All right, so we are able to send and receive messages, and it is working fine on the production environment as well with these kinds of configurations. All right, So I hope that you have learned something new. Again, I would love to create more videos for you guys, but I would request you to subscribe my channel, and if you need any development services or live session from me, you can contact me on LinkedIn for more details. We can discuss that. You can find my LinkedIn profile link from the my channel or from the description of this video. Okay, do subscribe my channel, like this video, comment below if you have any question. So I'll be creating more Next.js videos. Let me know what kind of video you want me to create. I will try to make that as soon as possible. Till then, thank you so much for watching, guys. See you in the next video.